Hi, my name is Steve Strezza. I'm the developer of Streamlines for iPhone, an iPhone Twitter client which will unfortunately never be released on the App Store for a variety of reasons. But I wanted to share some of the UI concepts that we came up with because, well, I'd rather see somebody do something with them or not, just to kind of give you an impression for what we try to do. So let's open the app up here. And right away you see we don't have a tab bar, we don't have a navigation bar at the top, we don't have a lot of this kind of cookie cutter UI stuff that most Twitter clients seem to be focused on. We just have this add a timeline button, and this will bring up the timeline picker. We have multiple accounts in here, so it starts asking us which account we want to add a timeline for. I've got all of my Twitter accounts here. I've also got my Facebook account, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But for right now, I'm going to pick my account, and here we've got all the different timelines that we can create. Friends, mentions, direct messages, favorites, tweets that I've posted, any Twitter lists or searches, custom users, or if you want, the public timeline, but I don't think anybody uses that anymore. Let's pick the friends timeline. It's going to pop in this view of our timeline here, and it's going to fetch this stuff from Twitter. This build is kind of old and hasn't really been optimized at all, so things are running a little bit slow. Part of the reason why it won't ever ship. But as you see here, we've got our Twitter feed, and we can scroll through here, and yeah, I mean, it looks like a timeline on a Twitter client, right? Now we also have pull to refresh, which is sort of the standard now. We also have the reload button at the bottom. Presumably, the reload button would disappear. We also, rather than having infinite scrolling, we decided to take the pull to refresh concept and basically extend it to the end of your timeline. So if you get to the end, you can pull to continue, and it will load more. But unfortunately, that's not working right now, so I'm not going to bother trying to show it to you. So once we have our first timeline in place, we want to get to other timelines. We want to create other timelines. And the way that we do that is rather than using a tab bar or something like that, we have a horizontal left and right swipe gesture, which lets us navigate between timelines. So let's go ahead and add another one. This one will do for my Mac app, Too Delicious. And we'll pick up a search. Here we have all of the trends. We can do our own custom search at the top. But I want to pick Save Search, which is when people are talking about Too Delicious. So let's pull that up, and it's going to create another timeline for us. And it's going to fetch these, this time from the Search API, rather than from the normal Twitter REST API. And here's all the tweets for Too Delicious. Like I said, it's a little bit slow. But, yep, there it is. So I want to show you one of the other cool features about this, which is a little bit different, and this is the concept of the card versus the timeline. So if we hit this little I button down here, the card is actually, maybe, try that again, yep. Card is going to flip around, and we're going to see some properties on that card that we care about. Up here at the top, it's got a name. We can edit the name if we want. We don't. It's got this star button up here, which is a concept used to mean this is like a favorite timeline. So I can use that to create this timeline really easily with one tap later on if it's a timeline I care about often. We have this priority field here, and what this lets you do is it lets you work around the rate limit issue on Twitter's API, where you can only make so many requests per hour. So what this tries to do is it tries to, you set the priority on the card however high you want or however low you want, and what it'll do is it will gather all of the priorities for all of the timelines throughout the system, and it will use that to intelligently schedule your API requests so that you're not running into the API limit ever. So if you only have 10 requests left that hour, it's going to slow down your traffic so that you don't run out of them, so you can still access your timeline. You can override that by doing a manual refresh, but if you do that, then it will gradually update all of the timelines and only schedule the remaining API requests so that they still work, but you can still run out if you manually refresh. Down here at the bottom, we have the timeline section. Now you see we only have the one timeline right now, so we're going to go ahead and actually add another timeline. And this is going to be merged to this card. So if we pick the Toodalicious mentions, we already have the search for it. He's going to do more loading, so I can't flip it back over yet. There's a glitch up there at the top in the status bar because there is technically a nav controller there. But you'll see here we've got our timeline, and now it's actually including some other tweets that are mentions to Toodalicious. And so at the same time we've got mentions for Toodalicious, and we've got tweets that match the word Toodalicious. So I could use that to create a card and one contiguous timeline that aggregates all of those tweets together and gives me an insight on whatever I want to see, and basically makes it super easy to combine Twitter data in such a way that you can really get a unique and centralized perspective on whatever it is you care about at that moment. Now we've got the multiple timelines thing here. What's interesting is when we turn this into landscape, it's actually going to, you can sort of see it, it's actually presenting both timelines, two timelines at once. And I can scroll through here, and I can still refresh and all of that, and I can actually scroll these independently at the same time. And if I had more timelines to show you, there'd be you could flick between them, and it behaves correctly. So let's put this back into portrait. Okay. Okay. So let's go here and add one more timeline. This time we're going to add it from Facebook. We got our news feed, and we have lists, which are, you can carve up your friends into subsets of your friends, which you can then organize independently. I have one that's all people who do programming, development, stuff like that. So we'll create that timeline. And it'll eventually load. There it is. So you can see this is actually getting pulled straight from Facebook. It's not getting pulled from Twitter. You can sort of see that this post down here is way too long for a tweet. So, yep. And just as before, I mean, these are just timeline cards, so you can flick between them, and it all just works. Unless it crashes or hangs for a bit. So, yeah, those are the basic fundamental concepts of this UI. You can take any set of timelines you want, you can merge them together, you can merge them across services. So if you wanted to integrate a Twitter list of your family members who are on Twitter and your Facebook list of your family members on Facebook, you can take those two lists, integrate them together across services, and you can use this to get a unique perspective on your social networks in the way that makes sense for you, not in the way that makes sense for someone just using any off-the-shelf other Twitter client, basically. The other thing, I mean, we've got multiple styles. We've got the dark and the light style. Hopefully this doesn't crash. And it crashed. Well, if it worked, then you could be able to see that we'd have multiple styles. So yeah, that is Streamlines for iPhone. I don't really know if, like I said, I don't really think I'm ever going to have time to finish it, but I just wanted to share it with you because I think it's a unique perspective on how to build a Twitter UI. Thanks for watching. You can find some of my other work at stevestreza.com. I'm Steve Streza on Twitter, SteveStreza, all one word. And you can also check out some of my other work at swearch.me, SWEARCH, and toodalicious.com. Thanks for watching.